Growing up, I never knew what it was like to be in the spotlight. But as soon as I had a microphone in my hand, there was no stopping me. Now the stage feels like my home, a battleground rather, where I feel most powerful and most like myself. Good afternoon, I'm Prerna Daswani, and I will be delivering 5 oral presentations for you today. So my first speech is an after-dinner speech at a reunion of friends from my housing complex who attend in number aged between 18 and 24. Can I have your attention, please? Thank you. Disha, I know you're dying to gobble up that delicious dessert. But before you do that, I would like to take a minute or 5, do not give me that look, to thank you all for being here on this very rooftop where we planned all of our adventurous escapades. Back to ground zero, the place where it all began. I am not going to fill in the blanks for you. I don't think I need to because I know that you know. It's a surprise the building chairman finally let us have a place for the night. Takes away the thrill of it all, doesn't it? Perks of growing up and whatnot. Speaking of growing up, Aryan clearly hasn't, because just an hour ago, we saw him in his element, running away from Adya's adorable little dog Whiskey and landing up on my dog Vasu. In case you were late. Yes, Pritik, I am referring to you. Here's a flashback.
Oh my God,
Some things never change, do they? Enough of that though. I think I speak on behalf of us all when I say that we have all dealt with our fair share of trouble. Like, remember that time when we tried experimenting with the lawn lights? Trying to keep them switched on for just a few more minutes so that we could finish that very heated football game? Only for us to cause a blackout in the entire neighborhood. That is the same day we lost our dear football. When Armada kicked it in Anika's face. Okay, I didn't have a picture and I needed visual representation. Anyway, moving on. After years and years of begging and pleading with our parents, I think we are one of the lucky few who can proudly say that we successfully planned and executed a Mahabaleshwar trip, a task that many have succumbed to. Now, since we are all sworn to secrecy when it comes to this trip, I shall not go over the dire details that we pledged. Literally pledged. Right, Anika? Never to speak of ever again. Regardless, the sauna causing sessions, the freezing swimming pool that we decided to jump into just for the thrill of it. Mind you, I can still hear Adya's screams from this day in my nightmares. Do not even amount to half of the memories that we take away from this trip. Anyway, it did take us a while to plan this much away to dinner as well, since Armada moved off to study in the UK and Adya ran off to Mumbai, and Aryan finally moved out of his parents' house. Only to move into Amai's house, which is in the next building, but it's progress, we live with that. And this is what they've been up to apparently. Now the rest of us too were busy adulting to our best capacity. But I am so glad that we could finally make this happen. Now Disha, I do not want to stand between you and that mouth watering dessert any longer, so I'd like to raise a toast to us. Well, what can I say? It's us. Here's to been there and done that, has-beens and never-was. May our stories never meet the same fate as our dear football hate. Cheers! I will be delivering a persuasive speech on a moral issue titled Let's Talk Therapy at a school seminar to approximately 500 teachers, parents and students. Hi, I've been meaning to tell you something. Guess who broke up with their boyfriend? Again. So there's been a lot going on recently and I really want to talk to you about it. Oh my god, did I tell you? There was this sale at Zara. I picked up nearly half the store. Do you want to go shopping? We can pick up the other half. So before that, can we maybe grab a cup of coffee and talk about something that's been bothering me? Oh my god, yes, but before that, I have to update you about what my ex did. Sure. Does this sound a tad bit familiar? Don't all of us wish that we had someone who would just take a moment and listen to our story? No judgment, no interruptions whatsoever, just a simple heart-to-heart. So I have but one question for you today. What comes to mind when you hear the word therapy? Oh, it's for people who are crazy. It's fluffy, saccharine, nonsensical hoo-ha. It's just a money-making racket. Well, that is where you're wrong. Because therapy is so much more than that. Don't worry, I'm not here to spit facts and figures at you which will put you to sleep. Rather, I would like to start by telling you a story. There was once a successful man who everyone aspired to be. He made the whole world laugh. He made them forget about their inner turmoil. But little did the world know that this man was hiding behind a mask himself, battling depression. One day he said no more and decided to face his inner demons in his battleground, the therapy room. And today the world stands by him, for not only did he make them shed tears of laughter, but also inspire them to face their inner demons. This man is none other than the renowned actor, comedian and artist, Jim Carrey. It takes a lot of courage to come to terms with what you're dealing with. And even though it is a battle you have to fight within yourself, a helping hand goes a long way. Which is why I personally advocate for therapy. And I believe that all of us can greatly benefit from it. Now here's the beauty of it. You don't have to experience any kind of trauma or be a victim of anything to seek therapy. It's simply a safe place to unload your baggage and untangle the strings of your troubled thoughts. So don't just picture a depressed emo kid sitting in the corner of the room with his legs crossed, rocking back and forth on the couch. But also picture a business tycoon trying to figure out a solution to her very complex business proposition. Like I said earlier, I am not here to drown you with facts and figures about mental health. I know that you've heard them a dozen times already because that is what's trending nowadays, right? But don't forget that this trend of yours is a way of life for millions of people across the world. And without therapy, I cannot even imagine what the world would be. Now speaking of trending, there was this post that everyone was resharing on social media that said, I would rather listen to your story than attend your funeral. Now, while it's nice to have a friend who offers support, at the end of the day, a professional is the one and only person who will be able to help you and load your baggage and untangle your strings the right way. None of us are perfect. We all have some things we're dealing with, some things we're trying to work on, and someone we want to talk about. So take that leap of faith, call that number, book that appointment, and be rest assured that your secret is safe with your therapist. Thank you. be delivering a story to a group of children at a summer camp called Camp Smiles a Lot. Okay children, settle down, come on now. Today, we are going to listen to a story about 3 little piggies and a big bad wolf. There lived 3 little piggies with Mama Pig. One day, Mama Pig told the 3 little piggies to go into the forest and build houses of their own. The 3 little piggies went into the forest where their heads held low. And now the first piggy, he was very, very lazy, just like all of you. So what he did was he built a house of straws. Does this look very strong? No, right? Now the second piggy was a little more hardworking. So what he did was he built a house of wood. This doesn't look as strong either, does it? Third piggy, unlike these 2 lazy boys, was very, very hardworking. So he made a house of bricks. Now this looks strong, right? Finally, one day the 3 piggies were in their own houses resting when the big bad wolf came. First, he came to the first piggy's house and he knocked. He said, knock, knock, open up. And when the piggy didn't, he huffed and he puffed. And what happened? He blew the house away. Now this piggy ran and ran and ran to the second piggy's house, to the house of wood. And here, the wolf, he huffed and he puffed and he blew this house away as well. So now these 2 piggies, they went running and running and running to the third piggy's house. Now this is a strong house. The wolf did not bother knocking. He was simply huffed and puffed and this house didn't blow away. But the wolf, he was very smart. So what he did was he climbed up the house into the chimney. But the third piggy saw him do this. So what he did was he took a big pot of boiling water and he put it into the chimney right under the fire, right above the fire. And the wolf fell through the chimney into the big pot of water. And the 3 little piggies, they lived happily ever after. And the first 2 piggies who built their lazy houses, they too built strong big houses of bricks. Now, what did we learn today? What does this story teach us? It teaches us that, yes, no, it does not mean a house of wood or straw is very weak. What this story teaches us is that hard work always pays off. So no more troubling mommy and daddy and no more lazing around. Okay, now come on, lunch in the cafeteria. Next, I will be delivering a sermon at the ISKCON temple to approximately 50 devotees aged between 10 and 18. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham cha sanskrita mamatma paradeshnu prathishtano vyashaka. Bewildered by a false sense of ego, strength, pride, lust and anger, the demon becomes envious of the supreme supreme power of Godhead, who is situated within himself and in the bodies of others, and blasphemes against the real religion. Hare Krishna, good afternoon. Now this verse, which is taken from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verse 18, teaches us a very important lesson. But before we get into what this verse means, I would like to thank Mataji for giving me the opportunity to lead today's Bhagavad Gita study. Now, what does the Gita mean by this? It means that envy targets the envious, but torments envy targets the envied, but torments the envious. So what does the Gita mean by this? Now let's say that you envy your friend for having the latest iPhone. This envy is targeted towards your friend, but at the end of the day, it ends up tormenting you. Think about it. Did it really affect your friend's emotional state of being or your own? Now we humans spend our entire lives being envious of what other people have. Why does she have a better car? Why does he have a better wife? Why didn't I get that raise? But you see, this is not something new. In fact, we are simply repeating the mistakes that we have read about in the great Mahabharata and Ramayana. Now take Duryodhana for example. We can see how envious Duryodhana targeted the Pandavas. He envied Yudhishthira's royal position, Bhim's physical power, and Arjun's fearless archery. Driven by this envy of his, he ended up humiliating himself after his plan of parading his wealth on the Pandavas' boomerang to the point where he had to be rescued. And in the end, what happened? In the end, the Pandavas won. I hope that this example helps you realize that envy, it comes with its own set of torments. But what can we, as human beings, as God's children, do to keep it in check? Just like mastering a good habit, it all starts with a change in mentality. Instead of being envious of that CEO who owns your dream car, why not let it act as a motivator that helps you take healthy steps in establishing that company and buying that car? Another thing we must do is practice gratitude. For all you know, the person sitting right next to you today could be envious of something that you have, that they do not. So always remember to thank Lord Krishna for everything he has given you. And finally, we must remember to observe the lives of the great gods and goddesses and saints. Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, Goddess Lakshmi, because the more that we read about them, the more we are inspired to be like them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Finally, I'll be delivering a news feature for Radio Told Twice. Once for a serious news program whose listeners are working class adults, and then again for an entertainment channel whose listeners are the youth. I'm Prerna Daswani and you're listening to Washington Post Live.
And just airtime. Thank you all for joining us, Stacey.
Florida, the state beneath the swamp. Within it lies many mysteries, but today let's uncover the biggest one of them all. Florida man.
Sexual act on a tree, yelling people to stop.
Start fire with spaghetti sauce. Kicking his birthday act.
Is he a single person? Is he a myth? Today let's uncover the mystery behind the meme. The state of Florida is known for its sunny beaches, theme parks, and vibrant cultures. However, it has also gained a reputation for some of the strangest and most bizarre news stories in recent memory. Florida man seems to make headlines almost daily. And here's the deal breaker. It's not just a single person, but every man in Florida Little did we know that this news would be a catalyst that would ignite a flame of inspiration in all the men in Florida. For soon after this accidental phone call, another Florida man, 30-year-old Rick Myers, was caught picking hallucinogenic mushrooms with an alligator in his backpack. Clearly, the men in Florida have earned themselves quite a reputation. Stay tuned as Washington Post Live will be the first to update you on the strange antics of Florida man. We will be back after a short break.
If nobody understands you, we do. Slash FM. Music for the me generation.
Welcome to Tony's party happening right here in Flash FM. Now, I'm the kind of person who loves sipping on a pina colada while getting a tan on the beach. And when I think of beaches, I think Florida. But lately, Florida is getting famous for other reasons too. Now, you remember my friend Ashley from that Met Gala incident? Anyway, she gives me a call and says, "Hey girl, you better check the news right now." And there it was, another news presenter ranting on about Florida man. So for those of you who have been living in your mom's basement, here's the tea. In 2013, a Florida man pulled a very blunt move and pocket dialed 911 while discussing the plan he had to kill someone. Just imagine being a 911 operator and wondering if the frequency got interrupted by the weekly telecast of Criminal Minds because you happened to tune into the most elaborate murder plot. I pity that guy. And the operator. And it just keeps getting better. Because a week later, an overgrown kid decided to get his monthly shoe drop off with an alligator in his backpack. You'd think the men in Florida would finally learn to calm down, just like our queen, Selena Gomez, but it looks like they are just getting started. So that's all from me, Tony. But don't go anywhere as I have a sizzling scandal for you that involves a celebrity and a curious body